Good morning, class. This is the first video lesson. We're going to do this on section 1-2, which is measuring and constructing segments. So just like normal, you need to take a half a page of notes. And the first thing that you need to write down from this page will be the section number 1-2 and the title, Measuring and Constructing Segments, and also the number 5 down here. So as we go through this video, keep in mind that you can stop, rewind, play, fast forward. So just use this video as necessary and go, take your notes through it. We'll move along through it. We'll pause, or I'll have you pause it. I'll have you work some problems. Just a normal day in class for us, but it will be videotaped so that you can follow along and pause as needed. So you don't need to write down the objectives, but do read through them. It lets you know what the section's about. And of course, as always, I have some sort of why on the lesson. And then either you can answer the question number 5 now in a Word document that you can save as your homework, or you can just type it and save it for later to answer. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get started. First thing here is we need to know what a compass is. Hopefully you've went out and got your compass. If not, that's fine, because most of you guys will be doing your lessons hopefully on the Smart Notebook software. So if you're looking for your compass on the Smart Notebook software, right up here, if you click on this button that has the compass and the protractor on it, you're going to see the different geometry tools pop up. So this one here happens to be the compass. If you click on it, your compass will pop up, and you should be able to move it around the screen, flip it around, just rotate it as necessary. So you might spend a couple of minutes and go ahead and open up the Smart Notebook and click on the compass, and that way you can kind of play around with it, mark some arcs with it, which is, as you notice from the definition, parts of a circle. So that's what we use a compass for, is to measure out a length with it and then mark an arc. So play around a little bit with that and get used to it. Alright, the next thing here is the straight edge. Now notice that the straight edge does look very similar to a ruler, but technically a straight edge doesn't necessarily have the markings that a ruler does. So that's why we can sometimes use our book or anything else with a straight edge on it as a straight edge. Because when we do constructions, we're not going to be measuring out 3 inches on the ruler and calling that, what our original segment is. So again, if you go up and click on the compass and go over to the ruler and click on that, then a ruler will appear, and you can make it bigger or smaller, just as big or small as you need it to measure or to mark your line as necessary. So you might go ahead and click on a pin if you've got your ruler out on your Smart Notebook. And as you notice, if you get that pin close to the ruler's edge, it marks a straight edge along that ruler for you. So if you get it close, it's going to assume that you're wanting to mark that ruler's edge. And if you just hold your mouse, your left mouse button down as you move it across there, it's going to mark a segment for you. So practice doing that a little bit. You can also turn the ruler or move it bigger or smaller as necessary. So play around with it until you get used to it at this time. Alright, the first page that we really get started doing something, we have to define a few words again. So we have coordinate. If you read the definition, it says the assigned number on a number line corresponding to a point. May or may not know what that means, but if we look down here at the bottom of the page, then we have several points along the number line. Well, this point A's coordinate is just represented by where it's at on the number line, so it would be a -3 for A's coordinate. That's all that definition is talking about right there. B's coordinate down here, if we looked at B, would be at -1. And we're going to be finding distances, which is the absolute value of the difference between coordinates of 2 points. Difference, hopefully you recognize, is subtraction, so we're going to be subtracting the 2 coordinates and then taking the absolute value to find the distance. And it's summarized up right here underneath length of a segment. Now notice also that when we're after a length of a segment, they just name it with 2 capital letters and not the line over the top. The line over the top means, okay, we've got this segment AB here. But if we're after just the length of it, they name it with AB. So notice that the questions down here coming up has just 2 capital letters, and that's signifying that they want the length of AF. This will want the length of DE. Okay, so to find the length, we assign a coordinate for A and we assign a coordinate for B. Usually we'll call A little a. So I think if we look down here, we're trying to find the length of AF. So I'm going to come on down a little bit and we're going to look at the formula. So the formula says that A's coordinate is -3. Now F's coordinate, I'm going to go ahead and call that my point B, and F's coordinate is 6. So the formula says A minus B. So I'm going to mark the absolute value. I'm going to slide in this -3 for A, and I'm going to slide in this 6 for B then. So remember it's minus B, so B's just 6 there. The minus is part of the formula. So -3 minus 6 is -9. So the absolute value of -9, well, it's just distance, which is always positive, is going to change that to 9. Now if you counted across the number line, it would also give you 9 by the time you counted all the way across from A over to F. Alright, so you know that the formula works. Notice that in the formula it also has that we could do the coordinate of B minus A. So I could take the absolute value that way. If I did that, I would just have these 6 minus a -3, and notice that it does also turn out to equal 9 for the distance. You don't have to do both. The word is or here, meaning that you can do the first or the second. You don't have to do both. Okay? Alright, so we're going to end this first video here. What you'll need to do on your homework page from this video is problems 3, 4, 11, and 12 from page 17. So feel free to rewind and watch any part that you need to, but go ahead and do those problems at this time.